So in this video, I'm going to cover absolutely everything you need to know about cold calling as a beginner. Now, I really wish that I had a video just like this when I was getting started in sales, because after selling over $22 million across 9 different niches, cold calling has been the majority of the reason that I've been able to live the life that I live and have the experiences that I'm able to experience. So if you are just getting into cold calling and you want a step-by-step breakdown of the right way to do cold calling so you don't get hung up on as soon as you dare dial someone's number, you don't want to come across as robotic or cheesy, and I'm going to give you the realistic expectations of how many people you need to dial to book a meeting, watch this video until the very end. So first and foremost, what is cold calling? Now, when I say the word cold calling, most people, they think of like telemarketing and spam calls and, we're calling about your car's extended warranty and all these robocalls that come and get you. Get that out of your head. Cold calling is and always will be the most efficient and effective way to talk to your target customers, have great conversations, and actually grow your business, and a skill set that transfers and transcends business as a whole. At its core, it's directly reaching out to potential customers and qualified leads through the phone, right? Now, it's effective because you cut through the bullshit, you get straight to the decision maker. There's nothing out there that can give you the speed that cold calling can do. With other forms of outreach like cold email or LinkedIn or advertising, it's going to take longer. It's going to take more strategy, and it's going to take a longer time cycle, right? If I send out cold emails, not everyone reads the cold email because of technology and software and spam filters. They read your message in their voice. So when I send someone an email and they read that email, depending on what their current mood is and the energy that they're having, they're reading that email in their own voice and they're coming to their own assumption about what you're saying. If they don't fully understand or grasp what the words on the page are, they are using and assuming, given their level of knowledge and understanding about what you're talking about or what you're offering, and they're coming to their own conclusion, and you can play absolutely no part in helping them become more educated, understanding about them and their needs and their business or themselves personally. It's cold email, right? It works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. What I'm saying and what I'm challenging you to think is that cold calling is going to be a live environment. So if you say something to someone on the phones, they can ask you questions in a live environment. You can control the narrative. You can control the frame. You essentially can be the ambassador for the business in that moment in time, and you're able to build much greater trust on a phone call with another human being, right? You have your tonality, you have your inflection, your deflection, your confidence is oozing, right, from you. The words that you're saying have more emotion attached to them because it's a live conversation. They can hear you, right? When they read a cold email, it's kind of cold, it's dead, right? They're just reading words on a page. And also, it's very impersonal, right? Hey, I'm just sending you this email because you're a marketing director at a company with 50 employees that does $5 million a year. When you're calling someone, it's personal. I've chosen to call you. I wanted to have a conversation with you. You are somebody who would be a good fit for the product or service that I'm selling. That is what cold calling is, and that's why I prefer it over other forms of outreach. Now, cold calling isn't supposed to be aggressive or pushy and being like a car salesman, right? We're not calling random people. We're not here to waste their time. That's not the goal of this, right? The goal of this is that I have specifically chosen you, Mr. Prospect. You match a very specific filter of criteria. I believe that given what you do and what you do in that business, that you are the ideal person that I want to talk to, right? Everyone that I talk to as a beginner is always nervous about calling people when you should flip your perception. You're not bothering someone, right? You are actually able to impact positively their business or their life or both, right? Selling is not a bad thing, right? Everyone thinks that selling is immoral, right? You're bothering people, you're asking people for money, you're selling things. Like, that's not what you should do. Everything that you do in your entire life, you have been sold, whether you know it or not. You have been sold on the TV show that you're currently watching. You have been sold on the current model of the phone that you have or the brand of the phone that you have. You've been sold on that. Whatever computer you are watching this video on, you've been sold. People call it marketing, but it's sales, right? It's persuasion. That's what sales is. It's the act of persuasion and communication. So instead of viewing it as I'm bothering or I'm interrupting this person's day, they're going to be not happy to talk to me. What if they're struggling with something in their business and you have the antidote for that problem? They are going to be overjoyed when you tell them that the thing that they don't want to do or have problems with in their business can be alleviated for a small price. Think of it in terms of helping people and serving people versus bothering people or annoying people or immorality around sales, right? You can be the positive light in their business. So just keep that frame with everything I'm about to say to you. Open your mind to understanding like cold calling's been around since phones have been invented, right? Like people like to talk to people. All this AI stuff and all this automation stuff is cool, but nothing is going to be able to replicate a human-to-human interaction. Now, why should you cold call? It's harder than most, right? It takes time. It takes energy. It takes skill set. And it takes confidence and consistency and discipline, right? Because it's way easier to send a cold email. It's way easier to connect with someone on LinkedIn. It's harder to cold call someone. Now, most people see that as something hard. They don't want to do it. You, hopefully watching a video like this, is someone who understands opportunity. Now, if the majority of the market has stopped cold calling, that means that less people are getting spam calls and less people are getting dialed on their phone, which is an opportunity to stand out from your competition, right? It's going to be highly effective. Your call booking rate is something that you can't replicate with any other thing, right? You could call 5 people and book 5 meetings. You really can't send 5 emails or 5 LinkedIn messages and book 5 meetings on average, right? It's going to save you time. You can get more done in a cold call than a 5 email sequence, right? Because when someone responds to an email, you probably still have to call them anyway. You can't get around talking to another human being in sales. And it's also hyper specific because you're calling the person you want to actually talk to, right? The decision maker. It's also going to definitely help you quickly qualify your leads. That's going to save you and your company that you're working for much needed time, energy, and resources. Just because someone books a call through cold email doesn't mean that they're actually the right person or they're actually qualified financially. When you're having a conversation with someone, you can ask all of the questions that you need answered in that time in the funnel or in the sales process, and you can actually qualify that person. Also, those people are going to show up to the call at a much higher clip. The show rate on cold email and cold written outreach is much lower than if they've actually spoken with someone. You've created a connection with that person. They remember the conversation. Oh, wow. Like I'm excited about this. They have this person was super knowledgeable. They answered all my questions and this is actually a good fit for my business. Like I'm excited to talk to this business, right? I'm excited about this opportunity versus like, oh yeah, what is this meeting? Oh, I don't even remember what I booked this for. I'm not even going to show up. You're going to increase everything the better you become at cold calling. And if you're a beginner, starting with the hardest thing is going to make everything else easier. If you can cold call good, you can definitely cold email well. You could definitely reach out to people on social media well, right? You're doing the hardest thing first. Think of it as learning a stick shift before you learn automatic. Now, this is something that most people don't talk about, and I think it's the most important thing about cold calling. It's going to be having the correct mindset when you're cold calling. Now, like I said, when you talk to people, you open yourself up for more opportunities for people to hang up on you, people to speak negatively to you, lose my number, how'd you get this number, don't ever call me again, blah, 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 blah. Who cares, right? With cold email, you don't see that. They just unsubscribe or they just block your shit, right? With cold calling, it's very real. So a lot of people can take that negativity and internalize that negativity and think that they're doing something wrong or they're bothering people, and it will deter you from the results that you can get with cold calling. You need to get tough skin. If someone's negative towards you, it's not actually towards you. They don't know you as a person, right? How could they speak ill of you if they don't actually know you? Just take it as it's their own thing going on, right? Maybe you brought up a pain point in their business that they're not doing a lot of revenue or they're not doing something right, and you're reminding them that they're not doing something, and they have a negative emotional reaction to that. The best way that I know is just to stay cool, stay positive. Be like, hey man, lose my number. Be like, hey man, all good. Have a great rest of your day. You don't ever have to talk to that person again. That's a win. A no is just as good as a yes. Now, most people view no and yeses on an opposite side of the spectrum. That's incorrect. Very incorrect. When actually you're here, a yes is here, a no is pretty much right around here. Like every no is very close to a yes, right? The more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. The more no's you hear, the better you can become at navigating a no into a yes. When someone says no, with talking to you for 30 seconds doesn't actually mean no. Also, with cold calling, just because someone says I'm not interested today doesn't mean when you recall them in like 2-3 weeks, they're going to remember who you are, remember your company, remember anything about you. Nothing actually matters. It's all volume. Volume negates luck, right? You're doing them a favor by making them an offer. Like I said, have the frame that you're serving people. You're giving them an antidote to their problems. Now, obviously, you make sure that you're selling a reputable product and a reputable service that people actually get results for. That's number one there. But obviously, hoping that you're working for a good company when you're doing cold calling, right? What you do actually helps and makes a difference in the lives of the people that you work with. So you're serving people. You get to help people. You get to make cold calls. There's people who have way worser jobs than cold calling and sales. Would you rather sit here in air conditioning, in a nice chair on a computer, calling people, being able to make money? Or would you rather drive somewhere, clock in, make a set dollar amount per hour, doing something that you can't even ascend to? You're not going to be cold calling forever. Cold calling is a means to an end. You start off cold calling. You learn that skill. You improve in that skill. You refine in that skill. Once you're good at cold calling, you then ascend. You get promoted, you close deals, you make more money. But at the end of the day, you're always cold calling. I've been in sales for 12 years and I cold call almost every single day. I like it. It's fun. It's like a video game and it makes me money. It does. It makes me money. Cold calling has always made me money because I treat it as such. So have a correct positive mindset. When the phone's dialing, say this person's going to pick up, they're going to book a call, they're going to be in a great mood. Before you even start your day, I'm going to book 3 meetings today. People answer my phone calls. People love talking with me. Say those things. Those are positive affirmations. Now, another thing that's important about cold calling is to do it in like sprints per day. Don't just call somebody and then stop and then do something and then call another person, stop, do something, call somebody, stop, do something, go get lunch, come back, make a call. You're never going to get as much calls. Cold calling and sales in general is a volume game. The more you do, the more opportunities you have to make money and to win and to get the desired result. So block out hours at a time to just focus on one thing. Don't be having social media open. Don't be watching a YouTube video. Don't have a podcast going on. Just sit there and focus and just make as many dials as you possibly can. The more you do, the better you get. The better you get, the more confidence you have. The more confidence you have, the more results that you're ultimately going to get. And also, momentum puts you in the flow of things, right? If you call someone, you have a conversation, whether good or bad, you're in flow, right? Oh, I'm good. I'm on it. I'm doing well, right? Also, prep. Go for a walk. Have a coffee. Have a Red Bull. Get in the zone. I got in the zone before this video, right? I have a little kind of routine I do before I make videos. I'm high energy. I'm in a good mental frame set. I haven't had a meeting for the last hour. I've been preparing what I'm saying to you right now. Do the same thing, right? The more you prepare, the more confident you are. Do a quick 10-minute sound check on the prospect. Do a quick 10-second check on their LinkedIn profile. Look at their website quick. Do a 5-second mental prep. Then set the intent, set the goal. I'm going to make 150 dials today, no matter what. That's my focus. Don't focus on how many meetings am I going to book today? Or that's the goal, but don't focus on that outcome, right? Focus on what you can control. I can do X number of dials. What happens of those dials depends on the people that I speak with and how well I am in that scenario and in that exercise. Now, let's break down KPIs, key performance indicator. So what does that mean? Those are the metrics you need to track. There's a few that you should be tracking. Number 1, how many dials are you making? Number 2, how many people that I intended to call, not the gatekeeper, not dial one for sales, how many people that I intended to call. If I call John Smith and John Smith picks up, that is a connection. Now, you're going to want to know the percentage of dials to connections. Now, what you should be aiming for is 12 to 15%. So if you call 100 people, you should be talking to at least 12 to 15 of those. Now, you might say, holy shit, that's like 85 people that don't answer. That's part of the game, right? When you send out 100 emails, 85 people probably don't even open it. And more than that, don't even respond or read it, right? So just manage your expectations here, guys. 100 dials, 12 to 15% connect. Now, of the connect, that's what you want, right? That's more connections that you can have. Of those connections, I track conversations. Now, a conversation, if you watch my other videos on how we write scripts, did you say the intro and did they say yes to your permission-based opener? If they said yes to it and you're able to convey your pitch, what you do, that's a conversation. So of those connects to conversations, you want about a 60 to 70% of the people saying yes to your opener. Now, once they say yes to your opener, that is going to be your connect to convo percentage, right? That's 60 to 70%. Now, of that 60 to 70% where you're actually having a valuable conversation, you want to be booking around 10 to 20% of those. Those are your KPIs. Track those. Look at those every day. Why did I get a higher conversation rate today versus yesterday? Oh, I had breakfast and 8 hours of sleep and I prepared. Oh, okay. Well, I should do that every time. Or why do I get a higher connection rate on this day versus this day, or this time versus this time, right? Understand your metrics, understand the data. The data doesn't lie. Listen to the data and replicate and amplify what's working and stop doing what's not working. When you are cold calling, there's obviously going to be a myriad of objections when you first start. Also understand that when you first start cold calling, you're not going to be the best cold caller, and that's okay. That is the point of everything, is you have to be not okay with being not okay, right? And you just have to focus on getting 1% better every dial, every day, every week, every month. Objections. Hey, this sounds interesting. Send me an email with more info. You're going to get that all the time. What I say and what I recommend saying is, yeah, man, absolutely. I can definitely send you an email, but I don't really know what's important to you. But if I was to send you an email, what type of information would you want to see on that email? Now, with every objection, you need to do the 3 A's. You need to acknowledge and ask. Affirm they said it, acknowledge that they asked it, and then re-ask a question, right? So, hey, send me the information. I say, oh, yeah, I can definitely send you an email. You're affirming that. I'm acknowledging that if I do send you an email, it may not be useful to you. It might be just some random stuff that you're not interested in. And then I ask them a question. If I were to send you an email, what type of information would you want to see on an email to help you make a better decision about what we do and how we do it? Use the 3 A's. Every objection, just affirm, acknowledge that that is an objection that they said, and then re-ask the question, right? You want to re-ask the question. The more that they talk, the more valuable and more positive that outcome is going to be in your favor. Now, let's just say you make a cold call. You say, hey man, this is a cold call. I'm just giving you a call to let you know what we do. If you give me 15 to 20 seconds, you can see if it makes sense to keep talking. Does that sound fair? Yeah, Dylan, what do you got? Awesome. So like I said, my name is Dylan. I'm calling from Automated Revenue. We work with high ticket businesses to help them increase their revenue. Now, when companies come to work with us, they come to work with us because they're seeing one or two problems. Number one is they don't have enough calls in the calendar, or number two, if they do have a lot of calls in the calendar, they don't show up or they're not qualified. So, Mr. Prospect, with where you're at today, which one of those really makes more sense with where your business is at? Are you getting a lot of calls that are unqualified, or you just actually need more calls in the calendar? You know, you're going to notice that those two are adverses of each other, right? There's really not a third scenario there. Either you are booking a lot of calls, or you aren't booking a lot of calls. And if you are booking a lot of calls, there's a good scenario that a lot of people are unqualified or don't show. Now, if they are booking a lot of calls and they're all qualified and they're all showing, they probably don't need our services. We can say thanks, but no thanks. All three options are in my favor. Now, when they say what they're interested in, this is super important, guys. Only talk about what the prospect wants to talk about. If the prospect's like, yeah, Dylan, we need to put more calls on our calendar, and I start talking about how we can increase the qualification rate and the show rate, that's not what he said he was interested in. Only talk about the things that they specifically say they want to talk about and are relevant to them and their business. Once they say whatever route, Go down that route 110%. That's the best practice for how to take the call. Ask them questions and listen. Listening is going to be the biggest thing in cold calling. Listen to the words they say. Listen to how they say it. Listen to how excited they are about what they're talking about, or how passionate they are about what they talk about. People like talking about themselves. People selfishly want to know what they are going to receive. They don't give a crap about your results. They don't care about how long you've been in business. They don't care about what round of funding you have. They don't care about those things because they're not giving them a result that they desire. Talk about them, talk about what they want to talk about, and then only ask them questions that are going to get them talking more. Take that information, tie it into a knot, and tell them, hey man, we can definitely help you get more calls in the calendar. I understand that the last 3 marketing agencies they've been working with haven't fulfilled their promise, and you told me it's because no one really knows who they're reaching out to or having a verified script. So what we do in our process is we're going to really understand and audit your business, understand your ICP, understand your targeting, your ideal customer profiles, and then write scripts so you can actually test those out with our sales reps, right? Like give them the solution. Obviously, we don't know too much about your business right now on this call, but I would love if I was able to show you some of the scripts that we've written in the past, some of the results, and give you a little bit of look under the hood on what we do, how we do it, and why it works. Now, I'm not sure if you have your calendar up, but right now we have some availability tomorrow afternoon. Are you free around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? Like that. Super important. Either record your calls, listen to those calls, go back and take very good notes. Or if you're good, take notes while you're talking. I recommend using a legal pad, right? It's longer. You can write more things, and then you take the notes on your legal pad at the end of your day, not after every call, because that's going to stop your flow. At the end of the day, write the name, write what you talked about, whatever bullet points, go back into the CRM, update those notes, because today is Thursday. If I book someone for Tuesday, there's 0% chance that I remember everything we talked about. Either I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that call before our next call. I'll have to prep the closer or prep whoever else with those notes so they are not asking the person the same questions and you look like a disjointed organization, right? This is a lot, guys, but this is cold calling, right? So the next thing is you're probably gonna be given a script from the business. Now, a script is a framework. Don't say the script verbatim. What you are supposed to be doing is practicing and memorizing that script. Everything I just said is our script, but I don't have to look at it because I've said it so many times on the phone and off the phone. Practice. Find someone in your company or find a community of other people who are beginners. Practice the script with your parents, your friends, whoever will listen to you. Practice the script. Make sure you can say it with your eyes closed while driving. Well, don't drive with your eyes closed, but you get what I'm saying. It's a framework. I'm going to say this, and then this is the next thing in the framework. This is the next step. This is the next step. This is how I do those steps. And I understand that not every call is going to be linear, right? Sometimes it might go here, and then you got to bring it back here. Now, that was a lot, but that was the video that I would have absolutely desired to see when I was first making cold calls. And it's okay, because when I first started making cold calls, I was terrible at cold calling. I was the worst cold caller on my team until I actually started to do those types of things and understand what is actually required to be good at cold calling. So that should be everything that you need on a basic level to get started in cold calling so you can book more meetings and collect more commissions. But of course, this is just scratching the surface of basic theory. No use to you unless you actually practice it. If you haven't taken notes on this call, I would go back to this video, put it on 2x speed, write down the notes, write down each thing I talked about, and then actually think about how you can do those things. So I want you to promise to me that you'll take everything that I've given to you, apply it, get yourself going on your cold calling journey. It may not be clear right now, but cold calling will get you to where you want to be. And if you want to go deeper, be in a community of other cold callers, someone just like you who's just starting out, others who have been in the game for decades, then our SDR Whisperer community is exactly what you need. So that link will be below. It starts at $247 a month. If that's too much for you, we have another one that's $15 a week to get you started. Everything's going to have a course. Everything's going to have a community. Everything is going to have group calls and ways that you can actually get good at cold calling. So click the first link in the description to learn more about it. It's got an advanced course breaking down everything on a granular level, plus opportunities to role play and watch me cold call live. Again, that's the first link in the description. Click it now, and I will see you on the inside.